everyone. My name is Patrick Beamer, and I'm a doctoral student in the Educational Psychology and Educational Technology program at Michigan State University. And I'm here today with Dr. Jennifer Fredricks of Connecticut College. Dr. Fredricks is a professor in the Department of Human Development, as well as the director of the Holleran Center for Community Action and Public Policy. So I first want to thank you for joining me today.
Oh, you're welcome.
So we'll get right into it. My first question is, what do you think the role of academic achievement is in motivation research?
The role of academic achievement. What do you mean? So I make sure I understand.
Right. So we often see academic achievement used as an outcome in motivation research.
Okay.
So we're curious of your thoughts on thinking of it in terms of an outcome.
Well, I think it's an important outcome, though we have to be careful because the research is really mixed. Many people assume it's kind of the leads to achievement, but depending on different aspects of motivation, the research doesn't always play that out.
Right.
Theoretically, I think it's very important. Empirically, I think we still have a ways to go.
Right. Great. So I guess that leads into my second question. How can motivation researchers understand the effectiveness of their research without utilizing academic achievement as an outcome? So what are maybe some other outcomes that may be beneficial, or is academic achievement still something that we should be considering?
Well, I think you have to think about how are you measuring academic achievement, and if you're using standardized test scores, I still think that that's a somewhat problematic measure. I think it's stronger with grades. I think there's other ways to assess achievement. So part of it is even how we're measuring achievement. But I still think an important indicator, a lot of what I've done my research on is engagement. And so
Right.
I think engagement is key. I think that's as important. I mean, engagement will lead to achievement, but also we need engagement just because kids are not engaged right now in school. So that's a variable I've looked at a lot. I also, that policymakers, I've done work in the policy arena, care a lot about achievement, but they also care about engagement. I think they should also care, although it's a little bit more of a sell, about some of the social indicators and emotional indicators. Because if you have a high achieving kid who is not, with significant mental health problems and is not attached to school, that's a problem too. And so that's a little bit harder sell. But I think policymakers definitely care about achievement, but they also do care a lot about engagement.
Right. Could you elaborate a little bit on where you think engagement and academic achievement may be more relevant depending on what age groups you're looking at?
More relevant depending on what age groups you're looking
at. So you mentioned standardized tests. I'm wondering, I'm thinking about younger age groups as compared to older age groups with testing right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think engagement might have different. I think it's important at all ages. I mean, in some ways you could argue it's a big. If you can measure engagement and disengagement, that's a very good predictor of dropping out of school.
Right.
And so measuring that early on is important. But I think engagement is important with young kids. It's harder to measure with younger kids than it is with, most of what we do is still with surveys. So we don't have good, we do some observational measures with younger kids. So it manifests itself differently. I wouldn't say there's different importance. It's just, it's a different in terms of measurement issues.
Right. Could you talk a little bit about the measurement in terms of maybe how we should be treating achievement compared to how we're treating engagement right now?
Well, how we're measuring achievement is a function of how we are testing kids.
Right.
How we're measuring engagement. Right now we're measuring engagement. Something I thought a lot about is mostly through surveys, and that's problematic too. Surveys are one way to get at it, but they're very general. And one of the reasons I think engagement is an important construct is because it is malleable, you can change it, and it really reflects context. But unfortunately, our measures are still very general. I could go on for like hours measures, but there are no ways to look at engagement that are through specific tasks that are more micro level, but we still have a ways to go in terms of that.
Great. I want to thank you for joining me today.
Oh, you're welcome.
That was my last question. So
okay, great. Well, I hope I helped with what you were trying.
yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Take care.
You too.